All right, welcome in. It is Thursday. It is time for another episode of Total Bases. We're here to deep dive Major League Baseball games for the next 45 to 50 minutes. And I funny like scenario like for me, and I'll let you guys weigh in on this because I think you can't like understand this unless you're like a degenerate gambler that bets every single day for like every day of your life for like 20 plus years. But like when you get a little bit of bad luck and then you lose a couple of games that you maybe should have won on some nonsense, and then you get to the ninth inning of a game and it's 1-0, and you maybe feel like you should have been up a little more, like you just can't explain to someone that doesn't do this every single day the fact that you know that Rafael Devers is going to hit 450 and then you're going to get walked off. I just had to get that out there. Tokyo Brandon, I'll start with you. I know you share the same sentiment. Of course, that's me venting about the A's game. I have now lost 3 straight Major League Baseball games in the last 24 hours on games that I led in the 7th inning or later, and I got walked off in all 3 of them. Sometimes you just have to laugh about it. You'll get them at some point, but this show is part therapy too, having to endure this every single day. So yeah, I'm feeling away this morning, Tokyo Brandon, because I had a couple of the last 2 days that really just got ripped from me right at the end of the game. Yeah, very frustrating stuff.
I went 1-1, and the A's was my loss. 2 solo home runs in the 9th inning with a 1-run lead. Sucks, but you had that times 3 in the last 3 days. I went 3-0 in my KBO plays, so it's a winning day for me. So at least I'm happy about that. And that's about all that's going on with me. I do have 2 4% plays out in Major League Baseball today, and I've already put out my strikeout, outs, walks projections on my YouTube channel. So I'm ready to go to bed after the show.
Yeah, TB.
Brian's looking a little sunburned too.
I am a little sunburned, maybe a little jet lagged. We missed you yesterday, Brian. Hope you had no issues with your flights. There is people that had issues with their flights, which we'll get into in a second. But TB is right. The A's was the least of my concern. I got walked off on the Orioles on a pair of little league errors. Just routine plays that didn't go my way. So if you're tuning in just now and you missed the first 2 minutes of the show, rough day for Trig yesterday. That's me, of course. Hopefully bounce back today. Brian, I very much hope your flight home and your day yesterday was better than mine.
Yeah, everything was okay except for I had one play and I had Cleveland. Good news. Bad news is the opposition decided to use a starter or an opener yesterday, and I didn't have it locked in that way. So some of my clients won. I did not win. I always list, I won't say always, but 95% of the time I list the pitchers. I wanted to go against, the pitcher for the White Sox, and he still pitched. But I didn't get a chance to get the victory because they brought in a guy early. That's the way it is. That's the way baseball is now. I know how much TB hates it, but it's a smart thing to do for the teams. It's a bad thing to do for the bettors. So basically, I didn't have a game yesterday. So can't complain.
Real quick, we point out the bad on the show. We also have to point out the good. TB and I did hit the parlay for the show yesterday. So the Brewers held on. The Diamondbacks won. So we got back in the win column on the parlay, which I know is, obviously, they're very important as well. We want to get that back in the plus, and we're going to try to do that today. So, Brian, like I said, your flight seemed to go well. The Red Sox flight didn't go as well last night. We don't even, are they even back in Boston yet? Is the question. If they are, they probably got in late. So they play the Yankees tonight. That's where we'll start the show. That is our feature game. How much does that matter to you here? And do you think it's baked into the number that the Red Sox maybe had a little bit of a flight delay on their way back from Denver?
I don't know if it's baked into the number. I know that Boston has hurt so many players this year when you're backing them that they don't have a lot of fans right now, but it's something to take into account. The line's pretty high in that regard, so I don't know if it's baked in. Schlittler right now is about anywhere 155 to 160 favorite with a total of either 7.5 to the over or 8 to the under. Schlittler and Early's the lefty. Early's one of those guys that has the ability to come out and pitch as well as Schlittler has on any single day. The problem is I don't know if I trust the Boston offense. To me, this is despite the travel situation, I think it's a good spot for Boston in this series. Over the years, I've tend to based on how these teams have been, you throw it out the window when these two teams get together. I like to play the underdogs. It's tough to lay money on the road for the Yankees in this situation. Schlittler's got to have his typical game in order to get that victory. Maybe you're better off maybe playing Schlittler to get the win, something to that effect, and get this number down if you like the Yankees. But I'm losing my faith in Boston. I've lost my faith completely in the Mets, and we've seen more of that lately. But Boston's next on the list. They got to start turning it around, or it's going to have to be one of those games that you've got to be blown away by a number. And I'm not blown away with this number, so I'll be passing on this one.
Let's get you in here, Tokyo Brandon. Your guy, Cam Schlittler, on the mound for the Yankees. Do the Red Sox have a chance tonight?
Adam, sounds like you need a hug.
Oh, we're past needing hugs after yesterday. Yeah, no, I need something more than a hug at this point.
Got it. So this is the matchup of the day. Two really pretty good pitchers out here. I like how both of them face the other team, the stats against the other team. Boston's in one of those spots where they're back home after the day off, or after being on the road yesterday with no rest. So that's definitely a flat spot in my opinion. And with Schlittler on the mound, and we got this Yankees bullpen. Actually, I have these bullpens dead even, ranked 10. They're both ranked 10 out of 30. That's good enough for me. I think a Boston team total under would be the way to go here. Whether it be the first 5 inning or whether it be the full game, it's going to be tough for these flaccid bats to get on the road. And while you're at it, everyone, double play 2 of us 3 cappers for 3 days, huge discount. So go ahead and grab that. We're definitely not going to have a day like we had yesterday against the A's or with the A's. So yeah, that's how I feel here. I think the Red Sox are going to be a little flat.
It's so interesting because like they're coming out of, they're leaving altitude, which we've talked about is not always a great situation for teams. But then again, like they played poorly in the series. If you watch the Red Sox Rocky series, like the Red Sox they played bad against a bad team. So on one hand, yes, like typically you leave the altitude, maybe you're a little flat, but also like a lot of teams leave Colorado and do have some success there because they're typically playing against a bad baseball team in the Rockies. So the Red Sox didn't have that. And now they come home. Like, I don't think they're going to be flat against the Yankees. Like that to me, like that's the game they get up for. Like that's the team they get up for, and they're playing at home. Does the flight delay matter? I mean, these guys don't. This isn't like they're traveling. They're not like on Southwest lining up waiting to get on the plane. Like the travel accommodations are great for big leaguers. So what I'm hoping here is that gets blown out of proportion as the day goes on, because really, I don't think it's made the media rounds yet. Like this is something one of the Red Sox beat writers was tweeting this out at like midnight, 11 p.m. midnight. So what I'm hoping here is that the casual picks that up, runs with it, bets the Yankees, moves the number a little bit, because like Red Sox right now are already, in my opinion, some value in this game. You put another 20, 30 cents on that, it's going to be hard to leave the Red Sox off. And then you put another 20, 30 cents on that. Suddenly you can get that plus 1.5 for like minus 110, minus 115. I think before I came on the show, it was minus 125. That to me, with Connolly early on the mound in a spot where it's like, we just played like garbage against the Rockies. Everyone's giving up on us for the season. The fan base has already quit. Like if you follow Red Sox fans on Twitter, they've completely given up. I mean, it's June 25th. Like there's still months and months of baseball left. This is a spot that I kind of love the Red Sox. I feel like we've seen it in this series in the past, Red Sox, Yankees in particular. The underdog in this series tends to get up for this series. And so I like the Red Sox. I will have to sort of see how this goes throughout the day. But the Sox at the price makes some sense to me.
I think the Rockies have a better record than the Red Sox now, don't they?
I believe they do. I think that's accurate.
So,
yeah, I don't.
You can't say the Red Sox just played a bad team because they're actually worse than the team they just played.
Well, no, you can still say the Red Sox have played a bad team. Like if we're talking about bad teams in the context of Major League Baseball, and actually no, the Red Sox are the Rockies are 32-49 after yesterday. The Red Sox are 32-46, but still
my bad.
Neither. Yeah, it's
comparable.
Go ahead, Bryan.
Comparably bad.
I just wanted to point out that they are not nearly as bad as Colorado is. Colorado is expected win-loss. That takes out of the grouping of the hits and that kind of thing. 33-48, while as Boston is 38-40. Boston is -7 in run differential. Colorado is -90 in run differential. Colorado at home has that big advantage. We've talked about that. So it's not that Boston isn't as good. So Colorado's got that good home advantage, and I think we're the only ones that ever take advantage of it.
Vita says Red Sox. Yeah. You know what? Vita says Red Sox are the hold your breath play. Yeah, they are, and I'm just gonna get it over with right now. The Red Sox +1.5 will be my leg of the parlay. Bryan, what is the current price for this right now?
I see anywhere from -25 to -35. Plenty of 30s out there. Yeah.
I think the sharp bettors are going to hit that Red Sox money line price at some point today. Well, all I'm hoping for is that they drive it up or the Yankees take money at -125 where it is right now. It's something I'm considering. I'll tell you what though, if a flood of Yankee money comes in at some point and moves this the other direction far enough, that probably makes my client card. But something that we didn't even I feel like touch on enough in the sort of handicap is, I mean, we're still getting Connolly early here, who's a very good starting pitcher. Like at one point in time, him and Schlittler were basically rated out the same. Obviously, Schlittler has had more success at the big league level, but Red Sox are not going down without a fight here. So I'll take the run cushion, and that will be my piece of the parlay. Yeah, Bryan, go ahead.
If you like Boston and you want to take a half a run in the first 5, you're only laying basically -115. So that's not bad either.
My counter to that is I want the bullpens here because the Yankees have had to sort of squeak out a couple of close games in Detroit the last 2 days. So I'd rather have the run and the bullpens in this scenario.
I agree to that, but Bednar and Cruz both pitched the last 2 days. That's their best 2 guys, but I don't think Boston's is much better because although Chapman hasn't pitched the last 2 days, last 2 times out, Chapman looked terrible. Slayton's pitched the last 2, Whitlock 2 of the last 3. So I don't see any advantage in the bullpens.
No, but I don't see a disadvantage, and I'm still getting a run as opposed to, I guess that's my counter point. Mike S. Mike S is in the chat, says, I like the Red Sox here. Mike, so do I. So let's
Adam's trying really hard to justify his pick.
That's what we do. That's the point of the show.
Nobody else likes it.
I know. I'm kidding.
Good morning. Freebird says, good morning from a train in Italy. That's pretty cool.
Wow.
Hope you're having a good time in Italy. That's awesome. It's where my family is from, and I've never been. Probably need to get on that at some point. The rest of my my entire family has been out there. I'm like the only one that hasn't ever been to Italy. So
Trigger doesn't sound like an Italian name though.
Fun fact: it was actually Tricarico back in the day, and it was shortened. It was shortened at Ellis Island or wherever, I think, when they just slapped. They said, you're going to be Trigger. My great grandfather or whatever wanted to have an American-ish name because that's, that's what they did back then.
When people that was came over here, that's what they wanted to do. Yeah.
Do you speak
Say
Italian?
Again? No, none, none at all.
That's good news for everybody who says you talk too much on this show. Fly to Italy, and you could talk with him because he has nobody to talk to.
Yeah, no, I'll be talking to a wall or something out there. Yeah, no, it won't phase me. All right, let's get back into the chat right here. Okay, let's go to this one. A lot of people want to talk about Mariners Pirates. This was Tokyo Brandon. I'll go back to you. This was surprising to me yesterday. I did not see, and you keep pointing out, you say, the Pirates still have pretty good offensive numbers. I personally just can't get over the fact that they don't have Griffin or Cruz in the lineup. But this is a team that I really like coming into the season. And they're still, not only are they still finding ways to win games, they're still finding ways to score runs, which is something I'm having a hard time wrapping my head around. So kick us off, Mariners Pirates. Do you want to do anything with this one here?
So it's really odd that whenever Ashcraft pitches, they score for him. It's just weird how baseball works sometimes. Some pitchers just can't. They just won't produce a run for him, like Skeens and sometimes Scooble. I mean, there's pitchers, I'm sure we could name off a few that the team never scores for them. Ashcraft always gets run support. I'm not always, but usually you can count on some runs when he pitches. And I just don't, as a former scout and a current handicapper, I cannot figure that out for the life of me. Why people hit better when a certain guy's on the mound just perplexes me. But anyway, Ashcraft would be a definite bet for whenever he's on the mound because they do score when he pitches. And I have the Pirates ranked number 8 in hitting right now in MLB, and I got the Seattle Mariners ranked 30 out of 30 right now in current form. But the Seattle bullpen is better, and Bryce Miller is considerably better than Bubba Chandler. So against these Pirates, not a good enough sample size, but he has in 23 at-bats held him to a 130 batting average. Not a good enough sample size, and Chandler has 0 sample size against Seattle, which probably means the first time around, he probably has a little bit of an advantage. But I don't know, maybe a first 5 under might be good because whenever I see the better pitcher facing the better lineup, and frankly, the Pittsburgh's the better lineup, at least in current form. Whenever I see the better pitcher against the better lineup, it makes me want to look at an under. If this is 4.5, I definitely would think about an under here. It's probably 3.5 though, because it's the Mariners. But that's the way I would go. Probably an under, a team total under. Somehow I would try to bet an under in this game.
Yeah, Brian, that is honestly watching the Pirates, okay, seeing who's in that lineup, and I'm just trying to filter my columns here to make sure there we go. Yeah, so this to me is hard to wrap my head around. You take Griffin and Cruz out of this lineup. You look at the 1 through 9 that they're trotting out there on a daily basis. Yet they're 4th in Major League Baseball WRC plus with a 107 WRC plus. Some of that is Griffin and Cruz related, but not all of it. You get, 2 guys are not going to totally, swing your team metrics. It's going to help or hurt, but I don't even know. I really don't know what to make of that because on one hand, you look at the team, this Pirates team should not be hitting at all. When you look, if you know the players and you know what their ceilings are, this lineup should not be productive. Yet they still continue to find ways to produce. It's jumbled my mind when it comes to this Pirates team. I do not know what to do with them right now.
Yeah, yesterday I wasn't on the show because of travel, and I have mentioned this before, but Braxton Ashcraft, I believe now it's 12 out of the last 13 or 13 out of the last 14 games he starts goes over. TB was right. They seem to hit for him, and he continues to pitch well. It's just an anomaly. But if you take a look at the Pirates offense, they're not bad hitters. They're just not power hitters. You've got Horowitz, who I've always liked. Brandon Lau's having a great season. Bryan Reynolds, a nice bounce back. Gonzalez. Nobody likes Gonzalez, but guy's hitting close to 300. Ryan O'Hearn's having another great season. And they brought up, Mangum and Callahan. I kind of like them. I'm not a big fan of Andy Rodriguez. They really don't have any catchers that I really care much for. They just traded away Joey Bart. So, catchers is a bad offensive position, and Trio's their shortstop right now, but he should be a bench guy. But they've got some good hitters on this team that you're able to play typical National League baseball, get on and get sent over. So they've been doing pretty well in that. But yes, from a power standpoint, you wouldn't expect this team to have many many games in which they have crooked numbers. That should be scoring by ones instead of twos and threes, but that's just the way baseball is sometimes. The bullpen looks in pretty good shape. Obviously, Carmen Mazinski yesterday threw 39 innings, saved the rest of the bullpen. So nobody in the bullpen has pitched more than once the last 3 days. I do think Seattle's offense is better on the road than it is at home, obviously, but I have more concerns about their bullpen right now. Munoz seems to be pitching a little bit better. He's got saves 2 of the last 4 days. But they had to use the back end of the bullpen yesterday, or the front end, with Davia, Hop, and Rutgers. So their ability in this game from a bullpen standpoint isn't as good. I do like their bullpen, but I think Pittsburgh has a little bit of advantage there. But I do like Miller, the way he's pitching. So if I'm going to play any type of Seattle, let's take a look at the first 5. You're laying right now 145, I'd say, for Seattle in the game, and 145 for Seattle in the first 5. So if you like Seattle, I could see the first 5. After that, I think it evens out a little bit. And maybe you can get a situation where you get Pittsburgh falls behind early, and you can bet them in the second half of the game. Something to that effect. But it's a tough card for me today. It's a small card anyway, but it's a tougher card. There's only a couple of day games. Everything else is night. So it's still a long time for me to put my plays out. So we'll see how it goes.
One final thing I want to point out here. So I bet against Bubba Chandler in his last start, and I won the bet with the Rockies, but it was not because Chandler pitched poorly. And you know, this is a guy that's kind of struggled with his command a lot of this year. Walks have been an issue. Doesn't have much secondary stuff outside of the fastball, but he really just pitched to contact in that Rockies game. Everything was just, he was just pumping in 99, 100, and it was just see it, right here it is, hit it.
Yeah.
It was very effective. He made it 6 innings, 2 runs. He did give up 6 hits, but again, only had the 1 strikeout, which was interesting to me because, you want to talk about maybe play his strikeouts under, because he just had success doing that. And the Mariners really haven't hit collectively this year. So you have to think, if you're Bubba Chandler and you've struggled a little bit, but you throw 99, 100, and you just had that work for you, isn't your game plan to just come back and pump in 100-mile-an-hour fastballs again? Just challenge the Mariners to hit the ball? I think that's what you're going to see from him today. So that's kind of, I don't know what you do with that, but I do think his strikeouts get priced up a little bit. I could kind of see another day where maybe he stays under his strikeout projection because of that. But yeah, just another way to look at it. And Steve Duke says under might be an option. Yeah, I couldn't argue with an under here. I think you're going to get decent pitching from both sides. So yeah, let's we'll move it along. But yeah, that's a Mike S says great pitching matchup. Yeah, I couldn't put you off an under in this game. Okay, let's go back to the chat. Vita says, how about them Stros? Quite a few in the chat were saying Blue Jays were a lock. Stros have won their last 4 series. They've gotten healthy. Their division is winnable. Yeah, the Astros, part of my reasoning for not jumping into that series with the Blue Jays, even though I'm very pro Blue Jays right now, Bryan Leonard is, I kind of agree. I think the Astros did get healthy. They started to get guys back. They're playing pretty good ball, and that was a very competitive series. All 3 of those games could have went either way, and the Astros were able to outlast the Jays in 2 of the last 3. Now they head up to Detroit tonight. I have some opinions here. This is an interesting one. I'll let you kick it off. Astros Tigers to you.
You've got Amaya against Melton. Melton's slight favorite here, about a 110, total of 9, slightly to the under. When you're looking at Houston, you've got to be worried about their bullpen here. They have been playing well, which means the better bullpen guys being used. Hader's been used the last 2 days, 3 of the last 4. King's been used 3 of the last 4. Okert, 3 of the last 4, including the last 2 days. De Los Santos threw 45 pitches on Monday and Tuesday. He had yesterday off. So they're a little worn out in the bullpen here. They just brought up Colton Gordon from AAA to fill in a little bit. That's a little bit of a concern here. We've got Amai going, and Amai has been hard to figure out. He's either on or he's off, and nothing in between. His rating on the season is 111 at Fangraphs. He's 155 the last 2 weeks. And take a look at the lineup. The Houston lineup right now is hitting very well. In fact, the top 4 guys and 5 of the first 6 are all in the top 100 lately. They're hitting the ball really well. But you're in a pretty good pitcher's ballpark here in Detroit. Melton's a guy who I kind of like, but if you take a look at his advanced stats, he's been getting a little bit lucky here. So if I'm looking to play this game, I think I'm going to take a look at the over. We're looking at 9 here. There is an 8.5 minus 130 out there, but you get minus 105 or plus 100 playing the over here. It wouldn't surprise me if they got some runs on board here. As I mentioned, he's a guy it's hard to trust, and Melton is pitching above his head a little bit here. Houston's been a very consistent offense, even though they only have like 6 guys in that lineup that I would consider to be major league hitters. And Detroit has struggled offensively, but I think the bats wake up a little bit here. I kind of like the over 9.
TB, how are you seeing Astros Tigers?
Guys, get a double play. 2 of your favorite 3 cappers here. 3 days, huge discount. And if you only like one of us, you can get 30% off on a 3-day pass or 6 days for the price of 3. So lots of good specials at WagerTalk.com. Go grab one. Let's see. I'm perplexed on this one. I honestly don't really have a side or opinion on this, so I'm going to go very quickly. I actually like the bullpens a little more than Bryan. I think, like he said, Astros bullpen's playing well. I think Detroit's bullpen's playing quite well too. Astros lineup, slight advantage over Detroit. They have been playing better in the last 2 or 3 days. And Imai, exactly like Bryan said, you don't know what you're going to get, Jekyll or Hyde. He's allowed 10 runs in his last 3 starts. But then again, Melton's allowed 7 in his last 3 starts. One of those was a 4. So are you going to get good Troy, bad Troy? Are you going to get good Imai, bad Imai? It's too many X factors for me, so I'm going to lay off. I do like the bullpens better than Bryan, though.
Well, here's the thing, though. The Astros bullpen, as Bryan was saying, is very used up. So it has really nothing to do with the Astros bullpen has improved considerably over the last month. They called up, Hader came back. They had a couple of guys down at AAA that have materialized into like decent big league relievers for them over at least in the short term. Don't know if that'll last, but yeah, their bullpen has been very good. That being said, they just battled it out with the Jays. The last 3 days, they've used basically everyone. So I don't know how you can say that the Astros are not at a disadvantage in the late innings here against a Tigers bullpen. That's comparable. I would say that they're relatively similar in terms of I don't think one is so much better or so much worse than the others, but the Tigers were behind the last 2 days against the Yankees pretty much all game. Didn't really need to use much in the way of high leverage bullpen arms, didn't really have many high leverage innings. So clear advantage at the end of this game, in my opinion, for the Tigers. You go back to the starters, Bryan, I'm very much with you. I really like Melton as well. He's a guy, he's not going to strike anyone out. So that's the thing with him. He's going to give up a lot of contact. But most of the contact that he gives up is soft. He doesn't give up a ton of hard hit. And he's in a ballpark that you're okay with giving up contact. At Comerica Park, you're fine letting guys hit the ball there and letting them put it in play and hoping that your defense can do a job. So I have no issues with Melton. I don't know if he'll sit there, big league level this year. His whip is 0.95, which is incredible. I don't know if that stays there, but you know what? Last year in 45 2/3 innings at the big league level, his whip was 101. So you're talking about a 77.1 inning sample size in the big leagues for Melton now. He has a 0.98 whip. We're starting to get to the point where, it's a decent sample. It's not a huge sample, but I think it suggests that Troy Melton is the guy that, I think, Bryan, you and I thought he could be as he was coming up through the ranks for the Tigers. I will talk about Imai for 1 second. Like you said, I don't know who said Jekyll or Hyde. It's the best example that you could put with this guy. So hot and cold. Last time out against your Cleveland Guardians, Bryan, 11 strikeouts, no walks. He was awesome. But the thing is, he's been the other end of the spectrum at times this year too. And do the Astros get into a situation here where they have to make a decision? Do we leave this dude in or not today? Right? Because if he doesn't have it and they're forced to sort of like let him figure it out, that could be 5 walks and a Kerry Carpenter grand slam. Suddenly you're down 6-0. Kerry will be back in the lineup today because he's up against a right-handed pitcher. Had to face lefties the last 2 days. Tiger's much better against right-handed pitching. Big reprieve from having to go against the Yankees, 2 very good left-handed pitchers the last 2 days. So yeah, I'm leaning the Tigers here as well. And runs wouldn't surprise me that much either. We'll see how that one goes. Tokyo Brandon, coming to you. Mike S. says, really want to run it back with the A's today. I don't know. That might make one of us. I don't know if I can endure any more A's baseball. As I said, feast or famine in that lineup. It's been famine ever since they got to AT&T Park. So we'll go with A's Giants. Over to you, Tokyo Brandon. Kick us off with this one. Do you have any interest in running it back with the West Sacramento A's on the road today?
I kind of do, but it depends on how much I'm going to bet on it. The main thing in their favor is it's really hard to sweep a team. This is it's 2-0 in a 3-game series, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. Really hard to sweep a team in Major League Baseball. Like I said, and I've said in the comments of our videos as well, with people asking me, it's not that the players are not trying, but when you go into a series, your goal is to win the series. Your goal is not to sweep the series. If you can sweep it, that's great. That's the frosting on top. But the manager's goal is to win the series and move to the next one. And when you've already wrapped up the series, he's not going to strain his roster to climb back from a 2-run deficit. That's the main difference, is the manager's passive perspective on the game. So that being said, Spring's very poor numbers actually, but against these Giants, very good numbers. 68 at-bats against a 162 average and a 409 OPS, which is way under my 750 threshold. Raup is another guy who's like kind of, to me, seems Jekyll and Hyde. Like, I've backed him. He burns me. I go against him. He pitches great. So he's one of those guys that I just can't figure out. And his sample size against these batters is not big enough for me to make a good decision on it. But I do like the A's bats to explode a little bit today after being held down miraculously by not very good pitching, but they were just held down. Usually when you have this much power in your lineup, you bounce back a little the next day. So I expect either a team total over or the A's to win this one. But that bullpen, man, bad. A's or A's team total. Yeah. That's
a good point. It's, when Gage jumped, I mean, his stuff was awesome. 9 strikeouts.
It was.
The Giants, credit to the Giants. I think they were talking about this on the A's broadcast, which is the broadcast I watched last night. The Giants fouled off like some insane number of pitches. I think they fouled off over 30 pitches against Gage Jump yesterday, and it got him out of the game. I mean, when you have stuff like he had in that game, that's typically guys are going 7 innings, right? I mean, he was just, no one was touching him. But the Giants were able to just battle, and they got him. They were able to get him out after 5 innings. Now, the 5 innings were great, but what happened? You brought the A's bullpen into the mix for 4 innings, and, the longer the A's bullpen is out there, the better chance that you have to win if you are playing against the A's. So that's a good point, Tokyo Brandon. It was something that I was conscious of as the game went on yesterday, and it did come back to bite the A's in the end. So, Bryan, talk to me about this game. How does that factor into what you're looking at here?
Yeah, Spring's lefty against Roop the righty. San Francisco anywhere from 125 to 135 favorite. Total has been bet down to 8. Still a couple 8.5s out there. They just got hit a little bit. So more of 8s to the over in this one. Just because the Athletics have a lot of power does not mean they're going to hit a lot of home runs in this ballpark. This is a really tough ballpark to hit in. If you've ever watched it, just watch the outfielders, watch the infielders. The winds blow like crazy in here. You never know where they're going to go. And it's a really tough place to hit home runs. And the Athletics, for most of their success, has been hitting home runs. If you get to a ballpark like this, like maybe Met Stadium or some of the others that don't give up a lot of home runs, it's a totally different ball game. And that's my concern with the A's here. If you take a look at everything that's been done all season long, basically the two teams are pretty even. If you take a look at expected runs, how many runs they've been outscored on the season, the teams are pretty even. And with the home advantage, you'd probably think maybe about a 120 on Roop here. But I prefer Roop over Springs. Springs is a guy who he's pitched very well at times, but most of the time he's struggled a little bit. Roop did have those few starts where he did not look good, but he seems the last few to be back in pretty good graces here. If you take a look at what they have done lately, Springs is the last 14 days number 179 pitcher, and they had to use Alvarado, Harris, Sterner all yesterday. And Alvarado, since he's taken over the job, he's been hit or miss. He's blown up or he's looked great. Don't know if I trust him late in the game. And San Francisco, as we pointed out in the past, their bullpen is Killian's now the closer as of late. And they're in a lot better shape from a bullpen standpoint. In fact, you go back to Saturday, nobody's pitched more than one game. So I like the San Francisco bullpen. Landon Roop, 104 the last 14 days, 41st on the season. So he's been a lot better than what people think. And I agree, it is tougher to sweep a team when you're at home. But the line's telling me the value here is on San Francisco. So I kind of like San Francisco here. Don't know if I'll get there as a play. If I can get it down to 125 everywhere, right now it's about 130. That may be the way I look. But, looking to play Roop at San Francisco here at a little bit less of a number.
I'll throw one out here just because I want to answer. So Freebird says fantastic show. Best team total today. The other guys can chime in at some point before the end of the show if they want on this, but like I don't think a Giants team total under is that crazy in this game. Look at this is something I just pulled up right now. Jeffrey Springs is an extreme fly ball pitcher. Okay, he's always been a fly ball pitcher his entire career. It worked for him when he was in Tampa, right? That's a forgiving stadium. He probably thought that's what he was going to get when he was in negotiations to come to the A's. And then they decided, like, as that was being worked out, that they were going to go play at Sutter Health Park. So because of that, Jeffrey Springs, this is his last 5 starts. Okay. He pitched in Sacramento, Las Vegas at the Aviators Park, Las Vegas at the Aviators Park again. He was the dreaded 2-start pitcher that week, had to pitch there twice. At Wrigley Field with the wind blowing out, the start before that, and the start before that was in Sacramento. The last time he was in a park that was forgiving to fly balls, he pitched into the 7th inning and pitched pretty good against the Padres. Again, it just feels like he's been a victim of playing in these small ballparks, and when you're a fly ball pitcher, that matters. This park is as forgiving to fly. Unless TB and I are on the A's and need to close out a game in the 9th inning, typically the ball doesn't leave this ballpark, at least not at that rate. I could see the Giants maybe staying under their team total. So that's my answer to Freebird for his question. Bryan, Leonard, I'm going to come back to you. If you want to throw a team total out there just to answer the question, you can, but also give us your parlay leg. And if it's a game we haven't talked about, we'll go around the horn.
I'll think about the team total part, but I'll get to my part of the parlay here. We're going to take a look at Texas and Toronto. Gore's the lefty going against Gausman the righty. Right now, Toronto's about a 150 favorite, 145 to 155 with a total of 8 to the under, 107.5 to the over out there if you've got a Hard Rock account. I kind of like Texas here. Toronto has not hit lefties well this season. In fact, if you take a look at them on the year, they're at 83 WRC plus against lefties compared to 102 against righties. So they're at a definite disadvantage here against Texas, throwing a lefty out there. The problem has been that Gore's been very inconsistent, but on the season, he's ranked the 47th best starter and 63rd the last 14 days. In fact, DeGrom and Gore and Eovaldi are up on the top 65 for the last 3. So that means your bullpen is in pretty good shape. And yeah, for the most part, they are. Latz has not pitched since Monday. Junis hasn't pitched since Monday, and Gray hasn't pitched since Saturday. So I prefer the bullpen here for San Francisco. And I think that's where, or for Texas, and I think that's where you're going to get the advantage in this one. From an offensive standpoint, they've got some players back now. Peterson's looked like he's hitting better as of late. Langford, number 2 in baseball the last 7 days. He's finally heating up. We've got Nemo at number 40, Berger at 76, and Duran at 78. So you've got guys in this lineup that are hitting pretty well, and I think they'll have a little bit of success here. And you're going to go at a nice underdog price. Gausman, a guy who has been a little bit up and down over the season, and I have these teams ranked pretty close when Texas is healthy. They may be the better team, but I can't pass up getting like a 135 in this game with a team in Texas on the road here against a team that doesn't hit lefties. So it's a smaller card today, obviously, with the Thursday getaway day. Nothing right now is just jumping out at me. I kind of like San Francisco, and I kind of like Texas. We'll go with Texas as the plus 135 is the parlay.
Bryan, from a price standpoint, I can't disagree with you one bit. Like, I'm pro Blue Jays long term right now, but this is puzzling to me. So they sweep. We knew they swept the Red Sox last week. They have that crazy loss on Friday where they lose 16-2. Bounce back from that and win the next day. Then they get rained out. On Sunday in the finale. Okay, so we come on the show on Monday, and the Jays are sitting there minus 120, and that's when we had the conversation. Like, no, this team's they're starting to turn a corner. That's minus 120 is a kind of a crazy price in that game. Bryan, I actually think that made your client card that day, if I remember correctly. I think you had a bet on the Jays. They won the game in the first game of the series against the Astros. I used it for the parlay. And suddenly, all of a sudden, overnight, from that game until now, we are back to pricing the Blue Jays as if they're headed back to the ALCS. That happened very quickly. And now, like the last 2 days, they've been, in my opinion, overpriced against the Astros. They lose both of those games, but yet here they come into this series as like a minus 155 favorite. So, like, everything's relative to the number. Yeah, I still like my long-term positions on the Blue Jays. I don't like them here at this price. I think the pendulum has swung too far off of a good week, and now suddenly we're back to making them like minus 155, minus 160 favorites against teams that are not that far off from them. I can't argue with your rationale to take the Rangers at this price. TV, anything in Jays Rangers for you? And then talk to us about that game, and then we'll go back to you for your parlay leg.
Okay. My parlay leg is a game we've already covered, so you can prepare something after I talk about this one.
Perfect. I got something, so that's good.
Okay, cool. Cool. See, this is why I like doing this show, because Bryan is sharing some stuff that I didn't really know about the last game we were talking about. So this is the whole show. The idea of the show is to be educational, not like free picks and stuff, but to educate. And we can educate each other also. Us three, we approach our handicapping very different, all three of us very differently, but we all win in the end. So get 2 of us for 3 days for a double play. Anyways, let's go to the Texas game. And I couldn't agree with Bryan more. My numbers are screaming take the Texas Rangers here. Although I don't know if I will or not, because Gore has been a risky proposition. But like Bryan said, he's actually a fairly reliable pitcher ever since even in his Washington days. So he's a fairly reliable pitcher. Gausman is obviously the household name, but he hasn't really been performing this season as he normally does. I actually have Gore 0.3 of a point higher ranked than Kevin Gausman on the season. Gausman does have a little bit better control, but both guys are within the acceptable range of walks to strikeout ratio. I have Texas ranked better than the Blue Jays in almost every category, just by a hair. So, but they are overwhelmingly better than the Blue Jays in hitting. Not overwhelmingly, slightly. But what I mean by overwhelming is almost every category I have them better than the Blue Jays, even though it's by a smidge. The bullpen is the big deciding factor here because the Rangers bullpen is performing much better in current form. So yeah, I totally agree with Bryan. It would be Rangers or nothing for me in this one.
Yeah. The one thing I'll point out, or I'll just say about Mackenzie Gore before I go back to UTV for your parlay league, the nice thing about backing Mackenzie Gore is if he's on, he's basically an ace. Like it's if he's on, it's like getting a Scooble or like that is like the when he's got his good stuff, like that's what you get from him. The problem for him is it only happens like once every like 3 times he pitches. That's why we're not talking about Mackenzie Gore with all the other top pitchers in baseball, because he's just struggled with consistency over his career. But like the nice thing about backing him is if you show up and you get good Mackenzie Gore, he's probably going 7. He's probably going to give up like 1 run, and you're going to be right there for a potential chance to win. So,
and actually, sorry, can I throw this in? Sorry to interrupt.
Yes. No, go ahead.
In his last 8 starts, he's given up 4 runs 2 times, but other than that, it's 1-2, 1-2, 1-2. So to back up what you just said, he even when he barfs, he's only giving up 4 runs, which when you give up 4 runs as a starter, your team still has a chance to win the game.
When he was coming up as a prospect, I thought he would have won a Cy Young in his career at some point. Like I really thought like he was that. I still think, I mean, that is like his like ceiling in my opinion, or has been. I don't know if it is now, but like I've always been high on this guy. And when he puts it all together, it's a thing of beauty. So hopefully if you are backing the Rangers tonight, he is putting it together like that, because if he does, they're probably going to win the game. Tokyo Brandon, what are you using to close this parlay out? And then we will do one more game, but we'll get your parlay leg first.
Was your parlay piece in the Boston New York Yankees game?
Yes, but I'm willing to give that up if you want that game.
No.
Okay.
I'll put that aside because I was gonna think Boston team total under 3.5, but which answers also the last super chat question. Team total, best team total, I think, is Boston under 3.5. But I'm going to go with the Mariners here and hope that their bats wake up. But after yesterday's debacle, I think, usually when a team gets held down by a really good pitcher for 6 or 7 innings, they usually bounce back at least a little bit. And I think they only need to bounce. I think if they just eke out 3 runs here, Seattle can win this game. So even though I have them ranked the worst bats in all of MLB in current form, they still have name power and they still can etch across 3 runs, I would imagine. So give me the Seattle Mariners on the money line here. Just dominant.
Yeah, Bryan, what is that money line right now?
45, I think.
Is it minus 145? I think I saw that too.
Yeah, about 145.
Yeah, listen, the Pirates can't be scoring 11 runs a day like with this lineup. It just can't. It's not a great handicap, but they just can't. Like I don't know how else to say it. The bottom of that order has 600 OPSs all over the place. Yeah, that's
Miller's great against these guys, and Miller has a walk rate of 11, which is unbelievable. He's only walking 11% of the guys he's striking out. So, jeez,
I'll be rooting for you today, TV, because like again, I think Chandler's going to come back and be really like in and around the zone. And if the Mariners can just wake up a little bit, and I agree, get him a little bit of run support. This is a game they
maybe 2
win.
Maybe 2 can win.
Yeah. The last game we're going to talk about. So this is going to knock out a whole bunch of people really want to talk about team totals. And specifically, they want to talk about team totals in this Diamondbacks Cardinals game. So Mike Scott says he likes the Cardinals team total over. Tokyo Brandon, we kind of nailed this game yesterday. I used the Diamondbacks for the parlay. They won big. You like the over in this game. That won big. So I'll let you start this one off. Diamondbacks, Cardinals, who do you like? And also, which is the better of the two team totals? Do you just see another full game over here?
Oh, I think the Cardinals team total would be the way to go if you're betting a team total here. Cardinals, I have them ranked number 7 in run production in current form, where I have the Diamondbacks 17. And both bullpens, I have them ranked worse than 22 or worse. And McGreevy's struggled a little, but Gallen we've talked about this before. He's just washed. I mean, he's not playing well, and he's not playing well. I mean, when you've got more than 10 starts under your belt and your ERA is still 6+, you shouldn't be in Major League Baseball, in my opinion. Maybe in today's game, things have changed. I don't know. But to me, that's just a sign that that's what you expect. I mean, you can expect him to give up 4 or 5 runs in 5 innings, period. So, yeah, I think Cardinals team total would be the way to go here. I don't think I would back the Cardinals on the side because their bullpen is equally trash. So, and McGreevy has not been good lately either. So, but team total, yeah, I love the Cardinals here. If it's 4.5, yeah, fire away.
Bryan, Diamondbacks was my parlay leg in the show yesterday. One of the viewers messaged me on Twitter and was like, Trig, how come that you said that was probably going to make your card, or it might make your card, and it didn't? Why did it not? And my answer was, I kind of got wind that Mitch Brott was probably not going to go very deep. I was reading the tea leaves a little bit, and it sounded like they were only going to let him go through the order once. And I said, okay, that's going to mean that I'm going to need like 6 innings from the D-backs bullpen. Like I'm kind of okay there. That's exactly what happened. Brott only went 3 innings, and so it didn't. I mean, Arizona scored plenty of runs, so it didn't really end up mattering in the end. But that's kind of the second day that they've sort of had to lean on the pen a little bit. Had to get a bunch of high leverage outs in that game the day before, 4-3 in the 9th inning. And it was a 0-0 game going into the 9th. They need 6 innings from the pen yesterday. So yeah, I could kind of see the Cardinals scoring runs, but at the same time, McGreevy's a guy that's prone to, I think, giving up some hits. So maybe an over in this game as well. How are you seeing D-backs Cardinals?
Yeah, I would say nothing strong, but I would lean to the over in this one. Also, if you're still looking for team totals, I would play the Cubs under 4.5. You're going to have to lay 135 to 145 in it. But Boyd and Peralta both had a lot of success against this team. Their teams are playing against in the past, and I kind of like that game under a little bit. So that'd be the way I'd look at that. That's an interesting handicap between Chicago and the Mets. I know we're late in the show, but Boyd coming back for his first game after sitting out for a while with injury. Peralta, a guy who's struggled a little bit. In fact, his last 3 starts, he's been lousy. But I expect him to bounce back a little bit here, and maybe we could sneak an under in there for 2 teams that have not been playing that great.
TV and I yesterday talked about that expected batting average. That stat has come up on our show the last couple of days. Tokyo Brandon pointed it out with Liberatore yesterday. He got destroyed. And in this game, Cardinals Diamondbacks, you have 2 of the worst in the league in that category. Mike McGreevy comes in with an expected batting average of 294 and an expected ERA of 570, bottom 10% in Major League Baseball in both categories. And then you have Zach Gallen, expected batting average 304. That is one of the worst marks. I think it may be the worst mark of any starting pitcher in Major League Baseball. And his expected ERA is bottom 10%. Also, 2 guys that just don't get any swing and miss. Go ahead, Tokyo Brandon.
Quick stat on McGreevy, and then I'll let you continue. But his OPS against these batters in 23 at-bats against is 1,027. So just a quick stat there.
Yeah, two guys getting virtually zero swing and miss at this point, and 2 lineups that can hit the ball. So you want team to, I don't think you could go wrong with either team total, full game over. Like, it's just because there's runs one day in Cardinals games doesn't seem to mean that there's not going to be the next day. I feel like they've been scoring and giving up runs recently at a pretty rapid rate. So yeah, I couldn't. It feels like a similar game to yesterday. I don't know who's going to score the 9 and who's going to score the 4 this time, but I really wouldn't be surprised if you saw double-digit runs again here.
Yep.
All right, let's. So again, double play package up on our respective pages. We all have stuff up for sale today on the WagerTalk site. We hit the parlay yesterday, so let's see if we can do it again. Our 3-teamer today is as follows. I'm going to go with Red Sox plus 1.5, minus 125. Bryan Leonard's going with the Rangers plus 135, a nice underdog money line in there. Tokyo Brandon is going Mariners in the early game, so he's going to kick us off with Mariners on the money line minus 145. So 3 full game sides today. We've got Mariners money line, Rangers money line, Red Sox plus 1.5. That's your 3-teamer for today. That is your show. The 3 of us will see you 9 a.m. Eastern tomorrow for more Total Basis. Have a great day, everyone. We'll see you guys in the morning.